Today we're going to be checking out a preamp pedal with 9 classic preamps, the JOYO Preamp House. What's up everybody, welcome to the channel. If you're new here, my name's Taylor and I do all sorts of guitar related stuff like this on my channel. If that's something you enjoy, make sure to subscribe and click the bell notification icon so you don't miss any of my uploads. If any of you have been following my channel for any length of time now, you know that I make a ton of videos about amp modeling. I've tried a ton of different amp modelers over the last couple years, and this one kind of stands out to me a little bit. And of course, the preamp pedal that I'm talking about today is the JOYO Preamp House. Now the JOYO Preamp House has some pretty cool features on it. It has 9 different preamps from classic amplifiers. Each preamp channel has both a clean and a distorted channel for a total of 18 different tones. There's a balanced XLR out with a ground lift, a headphone output, an effects loop, and on the front of the unit you have your preamp selection knob, your master volume knob, a toggle switch to toggle on and off the cab simulation, more on that in a minute, a gain, a bass, a mid, a treble, and a volume knob, and 2 foot switches to switch in between the clean and distorted channels as well as bypass the pedal. Now this pedal doesn't have any effects in it, it's very straightforward in what it's trying to do. It's just recreating preamp sounds from 9 classic amplifiers. The amps that it's modeling are a Fender Twin Reverb, a Marshall JCM 900, a Vox AC30, a Mesa Boogie Lone Star, a Mesa Boogie Dual Rectifier, an EVH5153, an Engel Powerball, an Orange Thunderverb 200, and the Friedman BE100. There's a couple things that I think are really cool about this pedal. The first is that it has built-in cab simulation, and it has a toggle switch here so that you can toggle it on and off. And the different settings for this toggle switch are, you can have the cab simulation on for both the 1/4 inch output as well as the XLR output. You can have it off for both outputs, or you can have it on for the XLR output but off for the 1/4 inch output. Now why would you want to do that? Well, that would be very handy in the situation that you are actually running this into a power amplifier and a cabinet, but still want to be able to run an XLR out to like front of house or something like that, so you don't have to mic up your speaker. The other thing that I think is really cool is it also has a built-in effects loop, so let's say you have some effects that you want to run before the cabinet simulation that you're sending out to front of house, you can do that through the effects loop. So in today's video, what we're gonna do is we're gonna plug into this guy and see what kind of tones we can get out of it. We'll be focusing mostly on the high gain sounds since that's mostly what I do here on my channel. And then at the end of the video, I'll also shoot out all the high gain models in a mix, both with the stock cab IRs that come with the pedal, as well as third-party IRs. So that way you guys can get an idea of what it sounds like in the context of a full band mix. All right, with all that out of the way, let's get over to the demo. All right guys, I have my Jackson Kelly plugged into the JOYO Preamp House. This guitar has an EMG 85 in the neck and an 81 in the bridge. The way that this works is there's 9 different preamps which can be controlled with this knob right here. This selects all the different preamp modes. The blinking light lets you know that your preset has changed, and if you want to save it, you can do that by holding down one of these foot switches. And then once the color stays solid, now your preset is saved onto whichever channel you are on. There's 2 channels for each preamp. Each preamp comes with a clean setting, which is channel A, and a distortion, which is channel B. The toggle switch up here allows you to switch between 3 different modes. Your first mode over here is XLR on and 6.35 off, which I think 6.35 is the 1/4 inch output, but it's like metric or something. If you're watching this anywhere else in the world, you're probably like, yeah, you stupid 6.35 is a guitar cable, not 1/4 inch. The is 1/4 inch? The center position here turns off the cabinet simulation for both the 1/4 inch or 6.35 millimeter outputs, as well as the XLR output. And then position number 3 over here turns on the cabinet simulation for both of the outputs. For this demo, I'm using the 1/4 inch out of the back, so we are going to turn the cab simulation on all the way over here to the right. We're on the US65TW preamp, which is a Fender Twin Reverb. Let's turn the volume up, it's a little quiet. Okay, you guys are probably not tuned into my channel to hear clean tones. And if you are, sorry, it's not really what I do here, but thank you for coming by anyways. Let's switch over to one of the high gain sounds here. So preamp number 2 is a UK 900, which is based off a JCM 900, which is kind of weird. JCM 800s are usually the more desirable amp, but you know, whatever, let's check it out. Let's dial this a little bit and see what we can get out of it. Okay, so that's the JCM 900. Probably not one of my favorite tones anyways, but if you like Marshalls, that's a pretty good Marshall sound. So the next one we're gonna check out is a Mesa Lone Star. A lot of low end in that. Let's cut some of that low end out. Okay, I'm not super familiar with Mesa Lone Star amplifiers anyways, but it's a little bit boomy for me. And I mean it's boomy because it has a lot of low end, not because it's an amp that should be owned by a boomer, but maybe that too. Let's check out the MS Dual, which has got to be a dual rectifier. If it's not, that's a very deceiving name. Okay, it's not bad. It really doesn't remind me that much of a dual rectifier. It sounds a little bit tighter than a dual rectifier in my opinion, but it's still a very usable tone. Let me try dialing out some of these mids. Okay, that sounds a little bit more like a Mesa dual rectifier, but let's move on here. The next on our list is the EVH3, which is an EVH5153. See what it sounds like? Okay, I think this one is my favorite out of all of them so far. The thing that I'm kind of learning with this is I think it has a really exaggerated mid-low range, so you have to be really careful with the bass and the mid controls. And I think this pedal would greatly be improved if it had a presence control, but you just have the treble control there. Let's dial this a little bit. Yeah, I think that's my favorite tone so far, but again, you just gotta be really careful with the bass and the mid controls. Let's check out the next preamp here, which is the EGE645. I believe that's an 𝗶𝗆𝗃𝗍. That sounds pretty good, and it's much tighter like I would expect any sort of Powerball sim to be. Let's dial it in a little bit. Okay, now that's my favorite out of all of these so far, but we still have a few to go, so good news. Next is the ORTH200, which is an orange 𝗃𝗓𝗃. Pretty awesome. It definitely has some Doom vibes in there, and the distortion is a little bit looser than the other preamps that we have tried so far. This is an amp that I would more associate with like hard rock bands necessarily than metal bands. Let's see if we can dial back this gain a little bit and see if we can get a good like hard rock sludgy tone out of it. Pretty good. I like that sort of vibe more on like hard rock and sludgier stuff than I do on metal necessarily, but that isn't to say you can't use an orange amp or an orange amp sim for metal. Certainly other people have done it successfully. Okay, the last preamp that we have here is an FM-BE100, which is going to be a Friedman Brown Eye 100. Let's check that out. Definitely need to dial this in a little bit. I like that one a lot too. So there you go, the JOYO Preamp House. There are a ton of different classic options in this pedal. Now, of course, you could run this with the cabinet simulation off and run this into something like an IR loader like the cab box that I reviewed a couple weeks back. And that way you would be able to play through your own IR, which would give you a lot more control over the tones that you're getting out of the pedal. But as far as built-in IRs go, it's either just on or off. You don't have multiple cabinets to select from, which is kind of a bummer, but at the same time, there's something nice about simplicity and not overdoing it and not overloading you with a bunch of different options. But to give you an idea of what this would sound like with a third-party cabinet impulse response, here's the built-in cab IR. And then I'm gonna turn the cab IR off, and I'll load a third-party cab IR in post, and I'll put some text here on the screen so that you know what cab IR it is. And here's what that sounds like. So I just wanted to do that to give you an idea here of what you're working with inside the box. Okay, now that we've tested this thing out and we've heard what it has to offer, let's hear what it sounds like in a mix. In the mix, I'm gonna demo all of the high gain channels. So I'm gonna leave out the twin reverb and the UK30, but we'll compare all the high gain models back to back, both with the built-in cabinet impulse response, as well as the third-party cabinet impulse response. So let's hear what that sounds like. Alright, what do you guys think of the JOYO Preamp House? Do any of you out there own this pedal? Let me know down in the comments below. As always, thank you so much to my patrons. Your support is greatly appreciated. And if you're interested in supporting the channel and helping me make more videos like this, hit up my Patreon via a link in the description below. And as always, if you like this video, make sure to hit the like button, consider subscribing, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye guys.